G'day guys, and welcome to this lesson for Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Now there are some fantastic classic drums in this song, so hopefully I've broken them down well enough so that you'll be able to get up and playing this song in no time. There's a bit of weird counting in the instrumental section and one absolutely killer fill that you have to nail. Alright, let's hop on the kit and check it out. The very first fill when the drums come in sounds like this. A 1, 2. Nice and easy. And then when the groove kicks in, there's just one thing that kind of sticks out to me, and it's a little snare drum fill that follows along really closely with the lyrics. So that sounds like this. So that isn't too tricky, and as I said, it follows along very closely with the lyrics and with the music, so you should be able to pick it out with your ears. Just before we go on to the ride cymbal, which is the slightly different section, there's a cool little snare drum fill, and that goes like this. And then moving on to the next section, which is just kind of instrumental, and we're over on the ride cymbal, kind of opens up a bit. I'm sure you'll be able to hear it. The groove goes kind of like this. So you can add as many extra ghost notes into that groove as you want, because John Bonham doing the John Bonham thing definitely has some sneaky ghost notes in there. And also the hi-hats do pop up every now and again, kind of keeping time on 2 and 4, but in some of the fills they kind of get carried away and rush along with the fill, which sounds fantastic. So try and grab those as well. Going out of that ride cymbal section, there's another little fill that goes like this. Even though that fill may sound like the simplest thing that you've ever played in your life, it is also the coolest thing. It's something that Steve Jordan uses a fair bit with John Mayer, and even though it is really simple, it sounds so great when it's played just perfectly, just like John Bonham. So use your ears, try and play it exactly like the track, because that will be fantastic. Alright, going on, we are coming up to our guitar solo instrumental section with the big kind of washy hits, okay? This is really confusing to count. So I would recommend probably just feeling it at first, but if you don't want to feel it, I will break down how I've worked out how to count it the best way. It's a bit of a mind bender, but I'm sure we'll get there. So that's the bit that goes like this. So you'll hear that I was keeping time with my hi-hats throughout that entire section. In the song, that's not actually the case, but it just really helps me to lock it in. Because what is happening is, even though the hits sound like they're and a 1, and a 3, and a 1, 2, 3, to count the entire section, it actually goes 1 and 3 and 1 and, which is really confusing and feels really uncoordinated at first. But once you get used to it, then you'll find that everything does line up and we come in perfectly back on beat 2, rather than like trying to guess where that fill that John Bonham plays going into the next section, trying to guess where that comes in. So you can definitely count that whole section. It's just a bit tricky. If you want to just feel it, I definitely don't mind, but if you're just wondering about the science behind it all, just count all the way through, and even though it feels wrong, they're 1 and, 3 and, 1 and. Hopefully that helps you out. So I'll play it one more time. Alright, moving along, we are into the guitar solo now, and the drums are pretty groovy. They kind of catch a lot of the hits and really add a bit of feel to this whole guitar solo section. So the main groove goes like this. Once again, there could be a bunch of ghost notes in there, but I'll get into some of those ghost notes in just a second. One of the other bars that stuck out to me goes just like this. Okay, and then the next bit that is obviously a huge standout is the mega fill that he plays just out of the end of this section. It's a classic John Bonham kind of fill. We've got lots of triplets with the kick drum involved. So I'll just break it down slowly, and then we'll see if we can speed it up and see if you can pinch this one and definitely chuck it in your playing because it's a great fill. So for starters, we're going to go. So on snare drum, first tom played as 32nd notes, then floor tom and kick drum. So it's kind of like a Herter, I guess. But also there's probably a bit of room for movement with that feel, and that's what makes John Bonham's playing so amazing, is that no one can really replicate exactly the way that he felt it. Anyway, that's the first 3 beats, and then the last beat is just a 16th note triplet going floor, first kick, snare, first kick. I'll play the whole thing slowly. And once in context. Moving along, there's another fill that sticks out to me, and that sounds like this. So it's just groups of 3, flams on the snare and the kick drum. And then it's just flam kick to finish up that cycle. Okay, moving on. The groove in the drums is really starting to catch the whole kind of riff and really emphasize, I guess, what's going on with the rest of the band. And that sounds like this. And this is where I want to talk about the ghost notes a little bit, because I think it is possible to play. And if you listen really closely to the recording, you can hear some ghost notes, but man, his finesse is just amazing, because they're barely audible, but I think they do add to the groove. So if you added them in there, they would sound something like this. I probably won't do them justice, but something like this. So that is a pretty big challenge if you're up for it. Just because you're accenting that second one, it's really weird to kind of pull that out while you've got everything else going on as well. Alright, moving on, we start to get into another fill, and then everything the drums are doing is kind of emulated in the band as well. So I'll play through this section for you slowly. And up to speed. Once again, I can hear those sneaky hi-hats on the left foot accompanying the very end of that fill. Okay, and then we're just kind of into the outro, so I'll just give you a basic groove that you can play, and the very end of the song is just a ritardando, so you just slow down and stretch it out until the vocals just take the very end of the song. So the groove that you can play for the end of the song goes like this. And there we go, those are all the bits that stick out to me in the drums for Stairway to Heaven. Hopefully it's enough to get you up and playing it. I hope you have good luck counting that weird instrumental section, and I also hope that you can get your chops up enough to get that mega John Bonham fill in there, because it is a fantastic one. So happy practicing, guys, and I'll definitely catch you at the next lesson.